Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gavin Newsom's corrupt redistricting scheme is worse than snake oil. It's arsenic to our democracy. You stand here, he's out there pontificating that in order to save democracy, we must destroy it. In order to empower the people, we must silence them and strip power from the Citizens Redistricting Committee. No one is going to fall for this. The voters want citizens to draw the lines, not politicians. You sit here and say, let the voters decide. They have already decided in 2010 over your objection, over the political class's objection. They gathered signatures and they put an initiative on the ballot that said enough is enough, no more gerrymandering. They saw the ill that gerrymandering represents to our democracy. They saw the corruption. They saw the lack of transparency. They saw the bribery, the vote rigging, politicians carving out communities, silencing voices. And they said enough, no more gerrymandering. In California, our voters are just, well, they're more advanced than other states' voters. They got it right a lot earlier. They gave us a gold standard in the Citizens Redistricting Commission. And what you're doing is saying, no, we don't care what they said in 2010. We are not listening to them. What they voted for to strip this body of the power that you are now apparently exercising in violation of the state constitution. The fact that we're even talking about redistricting on this floor today is a violation of the oath to uphold the state constitution. The fact that we're voting on a map today purportedly drawn up by the legislature, it's in violation of Article 21. You don't possess the authority to do this. The voters already decided and took you out of the process. But here we are today. Here we are today violating the state constitution by even voting on these three items. You know, what we've witnessed in the last 3 weeks, this circus, is exactly underscoring the wisdom of the voters in 2010. Let me go through the differences between what they created with the Independent Citizen Redistricting Commission and what all of you have shown you're capable of in the last 3 weeks. Citizens draw the map under the Citizens Redistricting process. Under this process, politicians are manipulating the lines. Under the Redistricting Commission that the citizens created, all of their meetings are open meetings. Under their rules, the commissioners are barred from having any conversation ex parte. You lawyers in the room know what that means. You're not allowed to take proposals or talk about lines or draw maps. All the map drawing occurs in real time on camera in open session. We know that these maps were drawn behind closed doors by a bunch of political consultants, and yet none of you are willing to put your names or reveal the names of who drew the maps. The Citizens Commission has to do it on a nonpartisan basis. You are openly admitting you're doing it for partisan advantage. Citizens on the
Assemblymember DeMaio, you're out of order. Please do not impugn the motives of members. Thank you.
Citizens on the Redistricting Commission are barred for 10 years from seeking any election, county, state, or federal. We know that legislators that are involved in this process are actively preparing campaigns to run for these districts. The citizens process created competitive districts where voters' voices are paramount and determine the outcome of the election. The maps that you're trying to impose are not competitive. And in fact, you take rural voters and you shove them in with urban voters to dilute their voice. How undemocratic. You want to talk about stripping people of their voice. I heard my colleague from Los Angeles and many of you say, we're doing this to protect health care.
30 seconds.
We're doing this because California's losing money. I wish you fought harder to solve the problems of this state as hard as you're fighting for some of these congressional districts for yourself and your colleagues. I wish you would fight to actually solve real problems happening here in California that actually matter. Look, the voters are ultimately going to be forced to decide this again. I think that once they understand what's going on, they will vote you down. Now, I know you're trying your hardest with a dishonest ballot title
Thank you, Assembly Member.
to deprive them of a fair
Assembly
election.
Member DeMaio.
But
Thank you,
ultimately,
Assembly Member.
California State Representative Carl DeMaio recently delivered a passionate speech condemning the redistricting plan backed by Governor Gavin Newsom, calling it more dangerous than snake oil and a threat to the very foundation of democracy. DeMaio argued that Newsom's plan, which claims to protect democracy, is in fact undermining it by stripping power from the people and transferring it back to politicians. He emphasized that voters in California had already made their decision in 2010 when they established the Citizens Redistricting Commission, removing the gerrymandering process from the hands of politicians. In his speech, DeMaio criticized the redistricting efforts, calling them a violation of the state constitution. He pointed out that the voters had spoken clearly about the need to eliminate gerrymandering, which they saw as corrupt and undemocratic. The voters had implemented a system where citizens, not politicians, would draw the lines in an open and transparent manner. But now, according to DeMaio, Newsom's plan disregards the will of the voters, putting the process back into the hands of political insiders, with all the manipulation and secrecy that come with it. DeMaio explained that under the Citizens Redistricting Commission, all meetings were open to the public, and the map drawing was done on camera in real time, ensuring transparency. The Commission's rules prevented any backdoor dealings, such as ex parte communications, which would allow politicians to secretly discuss and manipulate the maps. In stark contrast, DeMaio accused the political class of drawing the new maps behind closed doors, with political consultants handling the process while refusing to reveal their identities or the names of those responsible. Furthermore, the process established by the voters barred commissioners from seeking public office for 10 years, ensuring that they could not have personal or political incentives to skew the maps. However, DeMaio highlighted that the current process is tainted by politicians who are actively preparing to run for the districts that they are creating. He also criticized the new maps, claiming that they are not competitive, and pointed out that rural voters were being paired with urban voters, thus diluting their voices and undermining the democratic process. DeMaio also called attention to the fact that the redistricting process has become an excuse for politicians to avoid addressing real issues facing the state. While the politicians were fighting over district boundaries, he argued, they were not putting the same effort into solving California's actual problems, such as healthcare and financial challenges. He expressed his belief that once voters fully understood what was happening, they would reject the proposed redistricting and uphold the transparency and fairness that the Citizens Redistricting Commission had initially established. Despite attempts to mislead voters through deceptive ballot titles, DeMaio concluded with a strong statement, asserting that the people of California would ultimately stand up against the manipulation and defend their right to have a voice in the redistricting process.